Hello all you Wiki Warriors, how you guys doing? So in this video, well, I'm glad you're excited too. Sorry. This is the final boss of the DLC. And probably another one of my favorite boss fights, especially for locale. Well, I wouldn't say my favorite boss fight, but it is relatively hard. My favorite boss fight is Gearman, I think. But just the locale is just absolutely beautiful. The rain mixed with the water and the scenery, just everything looks absolutely epic to me. So let's go over what I'm going to be using. Like I have always been using, I am going to be using my saw cleaver mixed with my Ludwig Holy Blade. As far as firearms go, piercing rifle and Ludwig's rifle, which you really won't really need in this fight, because I mean, I'm not saying that you can't parry him, I just never can. No buffs, because I don't think he's really all that weak to anything aside from like blunt or damage. That's why I'm using my Ludwig's Holy Blade, because when I remember fighting this guy the first time, I remember going in there with my Ludwig Holy Blade, and it wasn't doing, like, it was doing the damage, but it wasn't, like, great, so I went back to my saw cleaver, and I was doing more damage. So, I would say just go in there with base damage. Don't mind these guys aren't going to attack you. Let's go over what, cost us. Stop moving, dude! I know you're anxious to get going! One, he will do a lot. He'll basically come out at you with this big, kind of like organ type fleshy bat. That's the best way I can describe it. It's like a mace, but it has like a blade and a ball on it. So he'll basically, you'll see what I'm talking about when you get into the fight. He'll do a lot of, I want to say, like, he'll do a lot of attacks that will pound to the ground. Like, he'll jump into the air and slam it down. He'll grab the tail and just kind of wisp it around. He'll grab the tail and throw it at you. He's also a very agile boss. And one of the things you'll find in this boss is probably the most annoying, aside from the fact that he does a lot of damage. He hits like a Mack truck. Is he will always scream in this one. He goes, ah! 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 Over and over again. That is like probably the most ear-piercing scream in the game. It is just not fun. But during his first state, he doesn't do a whole lot aside from physical attacks. Now, during his second state, he'll actually start grabbing stuff from his club, which are like bombs, and he'll throw those at you. And then during his final state, he will grow wings. And after he grows wings, he'll do another type of attack. So he'll do everything he's doing before, but more. He will be able to call down lightning strikes. Now, the lightning strikes will mess you up, but there is a saving grace. So if the best comparison I could come to is, if you guys have watched my Dark Souls streams, we recently just beat the Fume Knight. Now, when he does, the Fume Knight makes those fire orbs, there's a break, and you actually can dodge them. There is a break in the lightning. That's why I brought that up as a reference. There is a break in the lightning. You have to look out for it. Otherwise, you're going to get pounded by the lightning, and it's more than likely going to kill you. One thing that's probably the most tricky about this boss is how agile this boss is. And I think that's what messes people up the most, is trying to figure out his dodge, when to dodge, when to attack. Hopefully this video will help you out in that regard, like trying to gauge like where to dodge and when to attack. I usually go with my, if I'm not sure about a boss, I usually go with my number one rule, which is one hit, dodge, hit, dodge, hit, dodge, hit. Without further ado, let's get on to the fight. And it's actually a pretty grotesque boss opening here. I just call him Kos, but it's actually his full name is Orphan of Kos. Ugh. Molotov, it's a boy! There's this weapon you guys can see. I wish the hell we could have gotten that weapon though. Sadly, you can't get it. Alright, so he kind of starts off kind of walking towards you. Dodge forward. Hit. See what I'm talking about? His swipe attacks? This guy hits like a Mack truck. Okay, so he does do the bombs early on. So as you can see, I'm doing one hit. Backing away. One or two hits sometimes. Just kind of watch his, but just kind of dodge. Look for your openings to dodge. Don't get greedy. Take your time. I probably should not trade it. See what I mean by the screaming? Okay, so I thought it was there was two states. There's only two states in this game, in this boss fight. I apologize. But I haven't fought this boss in a while, so I thought there was three states. It's only two. We haven't even gotten to the second state yet. Alright, now he's on second state, guys. This is where it's gonna get interesting. thought he was annoying before. This is where it gets really intense. Oh, I'm dead. Alright, so for this fight, I'm probably going to stick with my sword. So as you can see, that does have a break. It just happened to luck out where I wasn't in position. It was like right where he was, so be aware of that. And I do apologize for my my information thinking that there was 3 states. There really isn't 3 states because he does the explosion. So there's only really 2 states or 2 phases of him. At least I think this does one. Yeah, so this does blunt damage. I would have been shocked if we get this on the first try. So again, just watch out for those swipes. Alright, second state. 2 attempts. Not bad. And that's what I'm saying, like, as far as boss weapons go, I wish we would have gotten the big mallet he was using versus cost parasite. Alright, so let's go over the boss. I know I wasn't talking more so on the second part of the second attempt. It's more I was just focusing on trying to get the boss. So as you saw, he did pull the lightning, and I think I took the brunt of that and still damaged him. It's really a iffy situation because it can kill you, or you can try to I wouldn't say dodge through it, but trying to just take it and immediately, as you saw, I immediately healed. The second part, I think, is what people struggle with the most, is because the first part he's relatively slow, he's easy to dodge his attacks, and then when second stage he goes absolutely berserk, you know, pretty much turns into the most angry boss and agile boss you'll find. And I think that screaming is meant to be that way, so it would distract you. So in the second state, you saw that he actually threw more than just one bomb. He would actually throw a barrage of them, or he would send them out flying. Now, there is one key to that. It's a really risky move. If you're able to get behind him while he's doing that, it does not. You can probably, like when he does I want to say the horseshoe version. You can get behind him and get a couple of attacks in. Just make sure you stay. That would be my #1 advice when he's in second state: is stay behind him as best you can. Dodge through his attacks, because most of his attacks he's going to be jumping up, so it gives you a good chance to dodge behind him and get one hit attack in or two. I would not get greedy and go for a massive amount of damage, because more than likely that's going to be how you're going to die. Get your hits in. 1 or 2. If you're damaged, that is your chance to heal. Now, this is the same thing with the Fume Knight I was having a hard time with, is finding windows to heal. When he goes and does his big wombo combos and you're able to do that, he's going to be in that animation for a little bit. So it gives you a chance to pop in your heals. So I would wait for him to do his massive amount of attacks, like his combos, and you manage to dodge through it, then heal. Because when you're trying to attack him and you're like trying to heal, that's where you're going to get messed up. That's where you're like, okay, and then you go try to heal, and now you left yourself open, and he's going to take advantage of that. Another thing I did was, I actually happened to be very lucky on this. I was actually right next to him when he was calling that lightning. If you're next to him, you can get some good hits in. Now, that's the part where the lightning is going to hit you, because it starts from him and moves out. If you're lucky, you are in that part where there's not going to, where that gap is. If you're not, you're probably going to get electrocuted, and it might kill you. So that might not be the best place for you. But I just happened to be lucky, and I didn't take a lot of the lightning damage. I think it took like half of my health away. But if you're doing the DLCs, you'll probably have a lot of health. I would say, as far as vials go, I would come in here with no less than 27. That way you have more than enough vials. And then, like I said, the thing about second state is he's just more agile and does more of his bat attacks. Instead of doing one or a big swipe, which is a lot easier to dodge, he just like goes all in. He's like, hit, swipe, hit, slash, slash. So it's really a more fast-paced fight. As you saw, I kind of switched to my big weapon. I use this one because it does have a less recovery rate, and it's really good for those fights where you don't want to do a whole lot of like hitting, like spam. Because you look, it takes me a minute to recover. But again, I always say experiment. Also, figure out what weapons work for you, and stick with what you are comfortable with. But I would say, but for me, using this weapon really won me the day. As you saw, I didn't really use any silver bullets or any buffs, so again, I would not recommend using them. And just be patient on this boss fight. Don't try to rush it. Sadly, the fight's not completely over. Because there's his spirit. You gotta kill that thing. And then it'll say, Nightmare Slain. And then you go to cutscene.
Sweet child of Kos returns to the ocean. A bottomless curse, a bottomless sea, accepting of all that there is and can be.
And so that is it, guys. That is the end of the DLC. I know I struggle a lot with Ludwig, but again, I haven't played the DLC in probably a little over a year or two. So I'm a bit rusty, and I was surprised I was able to do fairly well on cost. Like I only had two attempts. I think Ludwig took me 3 or 4 attempts. But I hope. But next weekend, guys. Next week we'll be finishing up the Bloodborne series, boss guide series, and then I'll have to think about what we're gonna do for the following week. I'm thinking vlogs. I hope this video was able to help you guys out. I hope you guys are able to learn from like when I died. I hope I was able to give you guys information that helped you guys out. All in all, I hope this video was able to help you guys out. I hope you guys are having a Wookiee-tastic day, and I'll see you all on our next adventure. Till next time, see ya!